Good evening. I want to talk to you a little bit tonight about the art of the boundary survey. Again, a lot of people think about the cost of the boundary survey and why does it cost so much. I made a video about that. I didn't go into too much depth, but I want to talk to you a little bit tonight about the art of the boundary survey. Wikipedia, I got it right here. Wikipedia defines surveying. Surveying or land surveying is the technique, profession, art, and science. I remember I was doing a survey one time and a woman came out and she said, oh, I just love the science of surveying. And I said, well, surveying is an art. She goes, excuse me? Surveying is an exact science. And I said, no, measuring is an exact science, but surveying is an art. And so I'm going to give you a very important, stick around because I'm going to tell you a very important reason why you need to consider this when you think about your next boundary survey. And a good point and example I'm going to give you how it's an art. How is it an art? Where's the art come in on this? Well, I was out running a boundary line one time, and off to my left, and I thought I was running close to the boundary line. I was out running out through the woods somewhere, and I figured I was close to the boundary line, and all of a sudden out to my left, I start picking up on a fence line about 10 feet away. And they go, something don't look right. I said, that fence should be where I'm at, or I should be near the boundary line. And it was a newer fence. It was maybe a year old. I went over and looked at the fence. I went down, and there was a brand new survey corner down at the end. I said, something ain't right. I had an old topographical map. My experience was telling me I was clear near the boundary line. So as I'm cutting this line, down at my feet, I find this old barbed wire. I just happened to catch it down on the ground. I pulled that barbed wire up where I was at, 10 feet from the fence. And I looked at this barbed wire, and it was about circa 1940, the barbed wire. A good surveyor knows his barbed wire. How do I know my barbed wire? I had a good barbed wire book that told me, what's circa. And after using it for so long, I kind of had it memorized. But, back in the 40s, they twisted the tines a certain way. There were so many tines, and then there were so many center wires and how it was twisted. There's 1920 barbed wire, 1910, 1930. When a good surveyor can pick up a piece of barbed wire, this is the art that I'm telling you about, and say, this is 1940 barbed wire. So somebody in 1940 thought that the boundary line was where I was at. So I start pulling that barbed wire up. I'm pulling it, and I'm running my line. I'm pulling that barbed wire up, and I get to an old corner post. And sure enough, at the old corner post was an old iron pipe, circa 1940 iron pipe, representing a corner, 10 feet away from that new corner by the new fence. How do I know it was a circa 1940 pipe? Because I'd followed behind enough surveyors who had surveys in the 1940s, and I know what they had set, and that was a circa 1940 pipe. So then that led me to go back and look at the section corner where the new surveyor had set a new section corner. I used the position of the old iron pipe, went back to the old section corner, started digging around. Sure enough, I found an old sandstone monument with no iron in it. That's why that surveyor hadn't found it. About 10 feet away from a brand new section corner that he had set. And so I proved that corner up. I went ahead and checked the witnesses, and they proved. Witnesses, you say, what's witnesses? People standing around? No, but back in the 1800s when they set that section corner, they pulled distances and bearings to trees, and they marked those trees, and those were the witnesses to that wooden post. The wooden post was long gone. The trees were gone. Somebody set that sandstone monument in the position of the old wooden post. So what witnesses are I'm talking about? I'm talking about the old trees. They're gone. So what do? How do you find the old trees? You start digging pits. I dug holes. What am I looking for? The trees gone. I'm looking for tap roots from the old trees. And I find the pattern of the tap roots, pull it back, bam, I hit the sandstone monument. I'm on it. That is the art of surveying. That's becoming a lost art. The average age of a surveyor in the state of Florida is over 60 years old. We got two schools of surveying. You got that engineering surveying with GPS, and you got the drones and all that exciting stuff. But That's a different school of survey. I'm talking about the art of the boundary survey. We're losing it. Which brings me to this point that I told you I was going to tell you. If you live in another state and you buy land in, say, Ocala, and you've got a friend down in Miami that's a surveyor, and you call them up and say, hey, I bought some land in Ocala. This actually happened to me. I bought some land in Ocala. I'd like you to go and survey it because I called up there and it's real expensive and you're my friend. Maybe you can go up there and survey it. Well, he's out of his territory. And the surveyor up in Ocala, that guy knows that area. That guy knows. Now, if that's a good friend of yours, he may go up there and he may luck up onto something. But if he has any problem at all, if he's a good friend, he's going to call you up and say, hey, you need to call a surveyor in the vicinity of the land that you're buying because they know what's going on up there. That's why you get out there and you find several corners in this position where there should be one. Because here's another key. A boundary survey is an opinion. Okay, you say, well, wait a minute. I got a signed and sealed piece of paper that says this is my boundary. Yeah, that's correct. You've got something to hang your hat on. But that is that surveyor's opinion of that boundary. If you'd have called a different surveyor, say any other surveyor, you'd have got a signed and sealed survey too. Would the position of the markers be in the exact same place? Probably not. They could be. But that is the opinion of the surveyor's opinion of your boundary. So you want to get a boundary opinion or signed and sealed survey of somebody that knows the area. And a good surveyor should stay in his area. I'm not saying he can't. There's surveyors that are licensed in many states. And they're good surveyors. But they know the area that they're going to. Or they know about the area that they're going to. Or they check in with the surveyors in that area. So just keep that in mind. A boundary survey is an opinion. And surveying is an art. Okay? So, again, this isn't legal advice. I'm just crusty old surveyor, has been doing this for over 40 years and just want to share some knowledge with you, and I hope you appreciate it. Hit like and subscribe. Have a good night. And as always, God bless.